కార్డ్స్ లేవా? చదువుకుంటాం ఇక్కడ కూర్చొని పైన పో, ఆ పైకి పో, పైకి Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sadguru Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare Sunday Sashasha de Abhidao de Hare Sunday Sashasha de Abhidao de Hare Sunday Sashasha de Abhidao de Abhidao de Hare Sunday Sashasha de Abhidao de Hare Sunday Sashasha de Abhidao de Hare we say Sade Dava Dava Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede 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 Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede 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 Dede,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram
Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede 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 Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede Dede, Hare Krishna Krishna Dede Dede, Hare Krishna Dede Dede, Hare Krishna Dede Dede, Hare Krishna Dede
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sadguru Gopalabha Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sadguru Gopalabha Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Ram Hare
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 Sare Sashra De De Atita Bhaktida Bhakta Bhakti
Hare
Hare Sare Sashra De De Atita Bhaktida Bhakta Bhakti
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Sare
Hare Ram
De De
Hare
Atita
Hare
Bhaktida
Krishna Krishna
Bhakti
Krishna Hare
Hare
Ram
Sare
Hare
Sashra
Hare
De De
Krishna
Atita
Krishna
Bhakti
Hare
Hare
Ram
Sare
Hare Hare
Sashra
Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Sare
Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Sare
Ram
Sashra De De
Hare
Atita
Hare Krishna Krishna
Bhakti
Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Sare
Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Ram Hare
Sare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Ram
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Sare
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Ram Hare
Hare
Jai Shri
Hare
Krishna Chaitanya
Sare
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sadguru Govinda Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare
Hare Hare Sare Krishna
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sadguru Govinda
Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Sare Krishna Hare Sare Krishna Hare Sare Krishna Hare Sare Krishna Hare Sare Krishna Oh no, Vishwadaya, 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 Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, Danda Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining for Japa call. Anybody likes to read the importance of holy names from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada's purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I read, Prabhuji?
4th canto, 7th chapter, 45th verse. Go ahead, Prabhu.
So, highlighted one, can I read, Prabhuji? Highlighted one?
Highlighted only, yes.
It is said in the Vishnu Purana that as a fire situated in one place emanates its heat and illumination everywhere. So whatever we see within the material or spiritual worlds is nothing but a manifestation of different energies emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmana's statement is that Lord Vishnu is everything: the fire, the offering, the clarified butter, the utensils, the place of sacrifice, and the kusha. He is everything. Yeah, kusha. He is everything. It is confirmed herein that the performance of Sankirtana Yagna is in this age is as good as all other yagnas in all other ages. if one performs Sankirtan Yagna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, there is no need to arrange elaborate paraphernalia for the prescribed sacrifice ceremonies recommended in the Vedas. In the chant of the holy names, Hare and Krishna, Hare means the energy of Krishna and Krishna is the Vishnu Tattva. Combined together, they are everything. In this age, persons are raised by the influence of Kali Yuga, and cannot arrange for all the requested paraphernalia for performing sacrifice as recommended in the Vedas. But if one simply chants Hare Krishna, it is to be understood that he is performing kinds of yagna because there is nothing within our vision except Hare, the energy of Krishna and Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.7.45. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Raj Prabhu. So with this paragraph, what Prabhupada says about in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is included. All the yajnas are included. No, we cannot perform the yajnas like with the pure ghee, clarified butter, the utensil, the place of sacrifice, the kusha grass. So everything is impure in this Kali Yuga. But the only benediction is pure, chanting the holy names of the Lord. That is a very pure. Shuddha Nama, right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, how many of you remember that? There is one sloka from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that Hare Krishna Maha Mantra I am. Anybody remember? Just try. How many of you remember that? There is a specific verse. Actually, we have gone through also. There is one prayer. 10.25. Open up. 10.25. Open up. If anybody have. Otherwise, I'll open 1 second. It's already opened here. You are able to see my screen, right? Read this, Raja Prabhu.
Which one, Prabhuji? Sloka Yagnanam Japa Yagnanam Japa Yagnasmi.
Yajnanam Japa Yajnasmi. Of sacrifices and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So in the connection to that Prabhupada purport, in this age of Kali, if we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, everything is included. That's a Prabhupada statement, not you, me, or somebody. It's a great Vaishnava Acharya, our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, is specifying that, last statement, important. But if one simply chants Hare Krishna, it is to be understood that he is performing all kinds of yajna. See how power of holy name, if we sincerely take up the process, if we sincerely try to focus our rounds, we are performing great sacrifice. All kinds of yajna, because there is nothing within our vision except Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare, the energy of Krishna and Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam purport 4.7.45. So every time I'm saying, please take up seriousness in the process. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, chanting the holy names every day. Okay, so let us begin with Mangalacharana prayer and Chaitanya Charitamrita, 7th chapter of Adilila. 1 second, where are we? Just a second, I am opening up the verse. I think the Mataji yesterday you put, no? Okay, 725. CC Adi 725. 7.25. Okay, before that, let us do Mangalacharana prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nite Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 7 entitled as the Panchatattva features. What is the meaning of Panchatattva? Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Okay. Hare Krishna. Is it audible, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
You can read, Mataji. From 720.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavats. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The flood of love of Godhead swelled in all directions, and thus young men, old men, women, and children were all immersed in that inundation. Purport. When the contents of the storehouse of love of Godhead is thus distributed, there is a powerful inundation that covers the entire land. In Sri Dham Mayapur, there is sometimes a great flood after the rainy season. This is an indication that from the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, the inundation of love of Godhead should be spread all over the world. For this will help everyone, including old men, young men, women, and children. The Krishna consciousness movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so powerful that it can inundate the entire world and interest all classes of men in the subject of love of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
No differentiation. No, there is no caste, creed, woman, man. Devotional service is for all. Okay. Sandhya Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Krishna consciousness movement will inundate the entire world and drown everyone, whether one be a gentleman, a rogue, or even lame, invalid, or blind. Purport. Here again, it may be emphasized that although jealous rascals protest that Europeans and Americans cannot be given the sacred thread or sannyasa, there is no need even to consider whether one is a gentleman or a rogue, because this is spiritual movement which is not concerned with the external body of skin and bones, because it is being properly conducted under the guidance of the Panchatattva. Strictly following the regulatory principles, it has nothing to do with external impediments.
Mother Prabhuji said, Mother Prabhupada tittadam anamata. So he's giving. So he has given the Brahmanikal Diksha, Sannyasa Diksha in his time. By looking at the person's qualities, he identified and he has given the Brahmanikal Diksha and Sannyasa Diksha. But that time, envious people, jealous rascals is tittadam anamata idantha. So that's not the external body of skin and bones, right? So Prabhupada knows whom to give and whom not to give. But other people, other institutions, no, they wanted to pass the statements. Why are you giving this? Europeans, Americans, this very important Vedic knowledge and this, fire sacrifice, everything. So he is. That's why it's great Vaishnava Acharya. He's not looking at the external things. Right. Chandramani Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When the 5 members of the Panchatattva saw the entire world drowned in the love of the Godhead and the seed of material enjoyment and the living entities completely destroyed, they all became exceedingly happy. Purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes in his Anubhashya that since the living entities all belong to the marginal potential of the Lord, each and every living entity has a natural tendency to become Krishna consciousness, although at the same time, the scent of material enjoyment is undoubtedly within him. The seed of material enjoyment, watered by the curse of material nature, fructifies to become a tree of material entanglement that endows the living entity with all kinds of material enjoyment. To enjoy such material facilities is to affected with the three material miseries. However, when the nature's law there is flood, the seeds within the earth becomes inactive. Similarly, as inundation of love of God spreads all over the world, that the seeds of material enjoyment become important. Thus, the more the Krishna consciousness movement spreads, the more the desire of for material enjoyment decreases. The seed of material enjoyment automatically becomes important with the increase of the Krishna consciousness movement. Instead of being envious that Krishna consciousness is spreading all over the world by the grace of the Lord Chaitanya, those who are jealous should be happy, as indicated here that the words karma ullasa, but because they are kanishta adhikaris are prakrita bhaktas, materialistic devotees who are not advanced in spiritual knowledge, they are envious instead of happy. And they are try to find faults in the Krishna consciousness movement. At Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati writes in his Chaitanya Chandramrita that when influenced by Lord Chaitanya's Krishna consciousness movement, materialists become averse to talking about their wives and children. Supposedly, learned scholars give up their tedious studies of Vedic literature. Yogis give up their important practice of mystic yoga. Uh, Ascetics give up their austere activities of penance and austerity, and sannyasis give up their study of Sankhya philosophy. Thus, they are all attracted by the Bhakti Yoga practices of Lord Chaitanya and cannot relish a mellow superior to that for Krishna consciousness. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you. See, all other systems of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, those are all impractical practices. Prabhupada says. Akijan, please go ahead.
Yeah, translation of Krishna. The more the five members of Panchatattva cause the rails of the love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases and spreads all over the world. But the Krishna consciousness movement is not stereotyped or stagnant. It will spread all over the world in spite of all objections by the fools and rascals that Europeans and American Melichas cannot be accepted as Brahmanas or Sannyasis. Here it is indicated that this process will spread and inundate the entire world with Krishna consciousness.
Praveen Prabhu, Aryan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam. Can you scroll up? Yeah. Translation. The impersonalists, fruity workers, false logicians, blasphemers, non-devotees, and lowest among the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna consciousness movement, and therefore the inundation of Krishna consciousness cannot touch them. Purport. Like Mayavadi philosophers in the past, such as Prakasananda Saraswati of Binay's modern impersonalists are not interested in Lord Chaitanya's Krishna consciousness movement. They do not know the value of this material world. They consider it false and cannot understand how the Krishna conscious movement can utilize it. They are so absorbed in impersonal thoughts that they take it for granted that all spiritual verity is material, because they do not know anything beyond their misconception of the Brahma Jyoti. They cannot understand that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is spiritual and therefore beyond the conception of material illusion. Whenever Krishna incarnates personally or as a devotee, these Mayavadi philosophers accept him as an ordinary human being. This is condemned in Bhagavad Gita 9.11. Avajanti mam mudha man swim tanum asritam param bhavam agyanato mam bhuta maheshwaram. Fools
This
deride.
also, one second. This also Prabhupada frequently quotes in his lectures. Avajananti mamuda manushim tanu mashitam param bhava majananti mama bhuta maheshwaram. Yeah, please. Wait. Your son is there?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, let him progress.
There are also other
This one.
unscrupulous
Read.
fools.
Fools deride.
Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme lord of all that be. There are also other unscrupulous persons who exploit the Lord's appearance by posing as incarnations to cheat the innocent public. An incarnation of God should pass the tests of the statements of the Shastras and also perform uncommon activities. One should not accept a rascal as an incarnation of God, but should test his ability to act as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For example, Krishna taught Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna also accepted him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But for our understanding, Arjuna requested the Lord to manifest his universal form, thus testing whether he was actually the Supreme Lord. Similarly, one must test a so-called incarnation of God according to the standard criteria. To avoid being misled by an exhibition of mystic powers, it is best to examine a so-called incarnation of God in the light of the statements of the Shastras. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described in the Shastras as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, if one wants to imitate Lord Chaitanya and claim to be an incarnation, he must show evidence from the Shastras about his appearance to substantiate his claim.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
See, Prabhupada frequently writes, whenever he wanted to say, emphasize. అట్లా వెళ్తుంది మనసులో రాస్కల్ వై యూస్ kind of love. Says that only Hare Krishna Prabhu, Raju Prabhu. You're on mute.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Please go ahead and read.
So it is still okay, it's come. Translation.
This was
Translation. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were feeling, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped. Therefore, I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Purport. Here is an important point. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to invest a way to capture the Mayavadis and other who did not take interest in Krishna conscious movement. This is a symptom of an acharya. An acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype. For he must find the ways to and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. Sometimes zealous persons criticize the Krishna consciousness movement because it is engages equally both boys and girls distributing love of Godhead. Not knowing that boys and girls in countries like Europe and America mix very freely. These fools and rascals criticize the boys and girls in Krishna consciousness for the intermingling. But these rascals should consider that one cannot suddenly change a community's social customs. However, since both the boys and girls are being trained to become preachers, those girls are not ordinary girls, but are as good as their brothers who are preaching Krishna consciousness. Therefore, to engage both boys and girls in fully transcendental activities is a policy intended to spread Krishna conscious movement. Though these jealous fools who criticize the intermingling of boys and girls will simply have to be satisfied with their own foolishness because they cannot think of how to spread Krishna consciousness by adopting ways and means that are favorable for this purpose. Their stereotyped methods will never help spread Krishna consciousness. Therefore, what we are doing is perfect by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For it is Eve who proposed to invert a way to capture those who stray from Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Here also, Srila Prabhupada tittadame. Yeah. Intermingling in these countries, that is there, right? So, as an Acharya, what is saying Acharya, who comes for the service of the Lord, cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype. For he must find ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. So European countries, Western countries means man-woman relationships and the intermingling is already there. But as our Srila Prabhupada, how he used the opportunity to serve the Lord by spreading the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Different. That's where Acharya. Best example of Srila Prabhupada. Technology is 50 when he was there. 1970. When was established ISKCON? 1966. 1966 to 1977 he is present there in this and that means 12 years of time. He has used the technological advancement, for example the microphone, dictaphone, and the TV. It was there in the US, the technological advancement. In India it's not one, and some very well place TV. He has given interviews. He is using the technological advancement by ways of means. He must find the ways, means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. So these people are there, but if we give Krishna consciousness, we give the knowledge, they may become preachers and ordinary girls, but as good as their brothers who are preaching Krishna consciousness. They understand the proper relationships by understanding the Vedic knowledge. Let me read this one. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus the Lord accepted the sannyasa order of life after full consideration. Purport. There was no need for Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for he is God himself and therefore has nothing to do with the material bodily concept of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not identify himself with any of the 8 varnas and ashramas, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. He identified himself as the Supreme Spirit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or for that matter any pure devotee, never identifies with these social and spiritual divisions of life. For a devotee is always transcendental to these different gradations of society. Nevertheless, Lord Chaitanya decided to accept sannyasa on the grounds that when he became a sannyasa, everyone would show him respect and in that way be favored. Although there was actually no need for him to accept sannyasa, he did so for the benefit of those who might think him an ordinary human being. The main purpose of his accepting sannyasa. This will be evident later in this chapter. We'll complete this verse and we'll go to sloka recitations. These 2 paragraphs. Deepa Mata, Sandhya Mata, both of you will complete this.
Hare Krishna. From Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, from there I should do.
Yeah.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura has explained the term Mayavadi as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental to the material conception of life. A Mayavadi is one who considers the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna to be made of Maya, and who also considers the abode of the Lord and the process of approaching him, devotional service, to be Maya. The Mayavadi considers all the paraphernalia of devotional service to be Maya. Maya refers to material existence, which is characterized by the reactions of fruitive activities. Mayavadis consider devotional service to be among such fruitive activities. According to them, when Bhagavatas, devotees, are purified by philosophical speculation, they'll come to the real point of liberation. Those who speculate in this way regarding devotional service are called Kutarkikas, false logicians, and those who consider devotional service to be fruitive activity are called karma nishthas. Those who criticize devotional service are called nindakas, blasphemers. Similarly, non-devotees who consider devotional service to be material are called pashandis. And scholars with a similar viewpoint are called adhama paduyas. Adhama paduyas.
Various terms Srila Prabhupada explained. Different devotees and different way of their understanding. Yeah. Sandhya Mata, you can complete this verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The Kutakikas, Nindakas, and Pasandis and Adhama Paduyas all avoided the benefit of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's moment of developing love of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt compassion for them, and it is for this reason that he decided to accept the sannyasa order, for by seeing him as a sannyasi, they would offer him respects. The sannyasa order is still respected in India. Indeed, the very dress of a sannyasi still commands respect from the Indian public. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyasa to facilitate preaching his devotional cult, although otherwise he had no need to accept the fourth order of spiritual life.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So that's their purpose. The sannyas, why he has taken the sannyasi order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for this people. And Prabhupada explained about here in this paragraph. Utarkikas, Nindakas, Pashandis, and other. We say sannyasi with the dress, sannyasi dress, we give respect, right? The dress itself getting the respect. So at least by looking at this sannyasi order, they may get proper respect and like that. But Prabhupada writes here, for that matter, he identified himself as a supreme spirit. There is a beautiful verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. While reading through, I am remembering that verse. There is one beautiful verse actually. In the song also they recite. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur. Dankanta Mundu Vakunta. Let us read. Dasa Dasa Dasa. CC Madhya. 1380. This is in connection with that paragraph. Same. Prabhupada writes here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not identify himself. What are those? 4 social orders, 4 spiritual orders. Right? Varnas and Ashramas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Savana, Sannyas. He identified himself as the Supreme Spirit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or for that matter, any pure devotee, never identifies with these social and spiritual divisions of life. This is one of the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 13th chapter, 80 verse. Naham vipro nachanara patir na pi vaishyo na shudro naham varnina cha griha patir na vai na vanastu yatirva kintu prodyan nikila paramananda purnamrutadbher Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Anu Dasa. Everybody read please this one. Please read this translation.
I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor I am a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha or a Sannyasi. I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like the ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance.
Right. So in this connection, that's the thing. Himself as a servant of the Lord. Right. So Supreme Spirit, and the Supreme Spirit service is service towards the Supreme Lord. Okay. You got the point, no? Anybody have anything to share? This is very important, and frequently Prabhupada also quotes the last line of Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Dasanvasa. Our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj also frequently in his lectures he quotes this. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayo Dasa Dasa Dasa. We have to remember that we are servant of. Right. That is our position. Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with all of us. Let us go to our recitations. Yesterday, Mataji did wonderfully. I really appreciate the way she did. I was in hearing mode. I was in bus actually. Thank you for taking up that one idea. So we'll do similar that way so that we all get engagement. I'll open this slokas slide. Yeah. You are able to see, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And let us give devotees who read all the 8 verses, like 2 Prabhus, 2 Mataris. But before that, let us practice together. You recite Matari, we all repeat.
Okay, Prabhuji. 7.5. Apareyam itastvanyam
Apareyam itastvanya
prakritim vidhi me param
Prakritim vidhi me param
jiva bhutam mahabaho
Jiva
Mahabhavo
yayedam dharyate jagat.
Etam
Yedam
Dharyate Jagat
dharyate jagat
Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi
Apareyam
me param
Apareyam
Itastvanyam
itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param
jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat.
Jiva
Bhutam
Bhutam
Mahabaho Yayedyam
Dharyate
jagat
Once again, 2 lines. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param
Apareyam
Apareyam
itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param
jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat.
Jiva
Bhutam
Bhutam
Mahabhavo
Mahabaho
Yedam
Yayedam dharyate
Dharyate
jagat
4 lines at a time. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat.
Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me
Prakritim
param
Vidhi Para
Bhutam Mahabaho
Bhavo
Yayedyam jagat
Dharyate Jagat.
Translation. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna,
Besides
Besides
these,
these, O mighty armed Arjuna,
there is another superior energy of mine
there is another superior energy of mind
which is the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material and inferior energy.
Yes. 7.14. Daivi hiesha gunamayi
Daivi Hesha Gunamayi
mama maya duratyaya
Maya Duratyaya
mam eva ye prapadyante
Eva Ye Prapadyante
mayam etam taranti te.
Maya Metam Tarantite
Daivi hiesha gunamayi
Daivi Hesha Gunamayi
mama maya duratyaya
Mama Maya Duratyaya
mam eva ye prapadyante
Eva Ye Prapadyante
mayam etam taranti te.
Maya Metam Tarantite
2 lines at a time. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya
Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya
mam eva ye prapadyante mayametam taranti te.
Eva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite
4 lines at a time. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayametam taranti te.
दैवेश्या गुणमयी माया प्रत्यया यन्ते करन्ति ते.
Translation: This divine energy of mine
This divine energy of mind
consists of the three modes of material nature
consists of the three modes of material nature
is difficult to overcome.
is difficult to overcome.
But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
7.19 Bahunam janmanamante
Bahunam janmanamante
Jnanavan mam prapadyate
Jnanavan mam prapadyate
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Samahatma sudurlabha.
Samahatma sadurlabha.
2 lines at a time. Bahunam janmanamante Jnanavan prapadyate
Bahunam janmanamante Jnanavan prapadyate
Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabha.
Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabha.
4 lines at a time. Bahunam janmanamante Jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabha.
Bahunam janmanamante Jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabha.
Translation: After many births and deaths,
After many births and deaths,
he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me.
he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me.
Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is.
Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is.
Such a great soul is very rare.
Such a great soul is very rare.
So, thank you, Mother. So these are all 7th chapter, no? 7.5, 7.14, 7.19. Now let us go to, so remember the numbers 5, 14, 19, 7.5, 7.14, 7.19. Now 8th chapter.
5 plus 14 is 19, Prabhu.
Right,
Prabhu?
5 plus 14 is 19, I said.
Yes, yes, in Krishna consciousness, everything possible. 5 plus 14 plus 19.
No, 5 plus 14 is 19, I said.
Yes, yes. Atlarlana. Okay. Yes.
And
5.
Yeah,
idea. Yes. 14 plus 5, 19. Yes. 7, 5, 7, 14, 7, 19. Jai. Yes.
8.5 Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram Yaprayati samadbhavam Yati nastyatra samshaya Yati nastyatra samshaya Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram
Antakale cha mameva
Prayati samadbhavam Yati nastyatra samshaya All the time. Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram Yaprayati samadbhavam Yati nastyatra samshaya Translation: And whoever at the end of his life
quits his body,
remembering me alone at once attains my nature.
Remembering me alone at once attains my nature.
Of this there is no doubt.
Of this there is no doubt.
Samshaya. Krishna directly saying, no doubt. Samshaya, no samshayam.
8.16 Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. 2 lines at a time. Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna
Brahma Bhuvana Loka
mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Translation. From the highest planet in the
4 lines. 4 lines, Mata. 4 lines.
Sorry. Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate.
Brahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate.
Translation. From the highest planet.
From the highest
planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery, wherein the repeated birth and death takes place.
But one who attains to my abode,
to my abode,
O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Yeah. Yes, 8:16. No, 9th chapter. So 8th chapter, 5 and 16. Now 9th chapter. Yes, Mother.
9.2 Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Pavitram idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukham kartum avyayam. 2 lines at a time. Sorry, one. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram idamuttamam
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram idam uttamam
Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukham kartum avyayam.
Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam kartum avyayam.
4 lines at a time. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukham kartum avyayam.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram idam uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Sukham kartum avyayam.
Translation. This knowledge is the king of education.
This knowledge is the king of education.
The most secret of all secrets.
The most secret of all secrets.
It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization,
it is the purest knowledge,
and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization.
It is the perfect of religion.
It is the perfect of religion.
It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed.
It is everlasting and is joyfully performed.
9.2, 9.4.
9.4 Maya tatamidam sarvam
Maya tatam idam
Maya
sarvam
tatam idam sarvam
jagadavyaktamurtina
jagad yaktamurtina
jagatavyaktamurtina
matsthani sarvabhutani
mastani
tani
sarvabhutani
nachaham teshvavasthita.
nachaham teshu
avastita.
avastita.
2 lines at a time. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina
Maya tatam idam
sarvam
sarvam
jagat
jagatavyaktamurtina
yaktamurtina
मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थिता.
mastani
mastani sarvabhutani
sarvabhutani
nachaham
nachaham
teshu
teshu
avastita.
avastita.
4 lines. मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगत् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थिता.
Maya
Maya tatam
idam
idam
sarvam
sarvam jagat
जगत्
avyakta murtina
mastani sarvabhutani nachaham
mastani nachaham teshu avastita.
Translation. By me in my unmanifested form,
by me in
I
my
mean, in my
unmanifested form.
manifested
this
form,
entire universe is pervaded.
This
this
entire
entire universe
universe
is
is
pervaded.
pervaded.
All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
All
All
beings
beings are
are
in
in
me,
me, but
but
I
I
am
am not
not
in
in
them.
them.
Right. Thank you, Mother. Next. Nine. Hare Krishna, Mother. 9:14.
Huh. It's not showing correction on the screen.
Okay. Now.
Yeah. 9.14. Satatam kirtayanto mam
Satatam kirtayanto mam
yatantascha dridhavrata
yatantascha dridavratha
namasyantascha mam bhaktya
namastatam bhaktya
nityayukta upasate.
nityayukta upasate.
Satatam kirtayanto mam
Satatam kirtayanto
Kirtayanto
ma
yatantascha dridhavrata
yatantascha dridavratha
namasyantascha mam bhaktya
namastatam bhaktya
nityayukta upasate.
nityayukta upasate.
2 lines at a time. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata
Satatam
kirtayanto mam
yatantascha
yatantascha
namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
upasate.
4 lines at a time. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namastantascha bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Translation. Always chanting my glories,
always chanting my glories,
endeavoring with great determination,
endeavoring
With
great determination,
bowing down before me,
going down
these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
these
This
great
great
souls
actually worship devotion.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Nice. Thank you, Mataji. So 9th chapter, how many? 3 verses we will learn. There are actually 7 verses. So we'll learn 9:2, 9:4, 9:14. Okay. Okay, sure. So the total total 8 verses we'll learn. We'll practice. Yeah. So Mataji, tomorrow we will do
New verses will do.
న్యూ వర్సెస్ నెక్స్ట్ వీక్ చేద్దాము. బట్ యాక్చువల్గా నేను ఏమనుకున్నానంటే రేపు అందరి డివోటీలు మళ్ళా మొత్తం 8 శ్లోకాలు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేద్దాం.
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
Okay.
8 శ్లోకాలు అందరు ఇద్దరు ముగ్గురు ప్రభుజీలు, ముగ్గురు మాతయ్యలు ఎవరైతే జాయిన్ అయితే వాళ్ళంతా చేద్దాం. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ, మీరు ఎలా అంటే.
It's 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much again. Dhanyawad pranams. Vancha kalpatarubyascha kripa sindhubhyavach. Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada translation jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande Hari Hari
Hari Bol.
All glories to the Assembled Devotees. Hare Krishna. Have a happy Krishna conscious Thursday. Guruvaram ide iroju. Okay, గురువారం అంటే శిల ప్రభుపాద యొక్క లెక్చర్ ఇన్ టెంపుల్స్. ప్రభుపాద ఉన్నాడు యాక్చువల్గా ఈ రోజు వెళ్ళారా టెంపుల్ ని? శిల ప్రభుపాద ఇస్ దేర్ ఇన్ టెంపుల్ టుడే. Yes, he is there. He is with us. Vapu, Vani రూపంలో ఉన్నాడు. In his transcendental sound vibration. I am just kidding. He is there actually. In his books, he is there for 10,000 years. 10,000 years he is there in his books.